and you take the level of expenditure that we had then and increase it by population and inflation, we would have a surplus today. That's how fast our spending grew. So we chose to spend more than our revenue year in, year out. And the consequences are there. And I'm running for the Republican nomination. I'm a proud Republican. But I'm going to say there's plenty of blame. We've had 2 governors during that time period. I was honored to serve Governor Schwarzenegger. This happened over 10 years. Don't spend more than we have shouldn't be such a shocking statement. We actually spent less than we took in. The year I left, or the year after I left, the revenue of the state went up. If you follow me on that chart, from 2005-6 to 2006-7, revenue went up $2 billion, and spending went up almost 10. How did that happen? So if you ever had the chance to be a finance director of the state of California, choose a year when the economy's doing great, and that's what I did. The size of the state wage bill is $17 billion. $17 billion out of about now $85 billion of expenditure. Governor Schwarzenegger has imposed a 2-day per month furlough, which is a shade under a 10% reduction. So that's a $1.7 billion savings. I have proposed, and it's on my website, a 15% cut in addition to that. So that's a lot of money coming from the state employees. 12% of the rainfall of our state still runs off into the Pacific Ocean. Isn't that a remarkable statistic? The Department of Water Resources is my source on that. It's remarkable. We would solve our water problem by storing. You don't have to do anything drastic. Just build more storage. And the environmental consequences can be mitigated by off-stream storage. The environmentalist concern is if you put more dams, you inhibit the free-flowing nature of the stream. That to me is a factor. It doesn't necessarily determine the outcome. So I hope I've given you at least some sense of what I would do long term. We need the natural resource, we need the infrastructure, and we should be willing to pay for it. And user fees is the best way to do that. Lastly, on water, you've had experiment with desal here in Santa Barbara. I would like to see you try that again. I would like to see encouragement for that. In the long term, that's a possible source for our very dry state.
Who do you think you're going to be running against?
Who do I think I'm going to be running against? I know my 2 Republican opponents are Meg Whitman and Steve Poizner, and they're both friends, and I wish them well. You're not going to hear attacks from me. And on the Democratic side, I saw Antonio Villaraigosa has just said that the problems of Los Angeles are sufficiently challenging, that he will stay there. So it'll be Gavin Newsom versus Jerry Brown. And it's really wise in politics. I've lived long enough, 22 years now in political life, never to comment on the other side's primary. You know, be careful of what you wish for. The Democrats, you might remember, got behind this actor who had no chance to be governor because the Republican mayor of San Francisco, George Christopher, was going to be a real tough guy to beat. So, honest to goodness, Democrats got behind and helped Ronald Reagan win the Republican primary. So.